Well, Mike, honestly, that's the hope. He's had some short stints at the major league level, 2 times in spring training and then 1 time at the end of last season, and he struggled all 3 times. We haven't really gotten a chance to see the Miguel Franco that we've been told about, that the organization is very high on. We haven't seen that yet at the major league level, but he has been tearing it up at the AAA level, and this date was significant in terms of his contract going forward and his free agent status. So not a big surprise that we got the news this morning that he was coming up, but he's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and that's what the team is hoping that he'll bring to Philadelphia starting tonight.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're putting him right into the number 5 hole. They're not kind of, hey, let's see you work yourself up, because this is where they really envision him, and he's going to hit number 5 tonight behind Ryan Howard. And I wonder, how that will help Howard out to maybe have a legitimate guy. He's been hitting, pretty well lately. He had some power the other night, 3 for 4. But I wonder if this will help Howard as well. He really hasn't had a legitimate home run guy or power bat behind him. Even though he's young, he could scare some people enough to help Howard out a little bit.
Well, and he's going to have to prove himself first, but certainly if he does, he's betting 355 down there at AAA. He had 12 doubles, 24 RBIs. If he comes to Philadelphia and has that kind of production or close to it, and he is absolutely going to serve as protection for Ryan Howard. And you're right. Ryan has had his health issues, and Ryan has had some other issues, but you can't discount the fact that when Jason Worth left town, that protection also went with it, and they haven't really been able to find a guy that can do that role since. And maybe Franco's the guy. Maybe he's the guy that can scare pitchers enough that they're going to have to give Ryan Howard those fastballs that he's looking for, and then Ryan will have to take advantage of it. And as you said, he's swinging the bat pretty good right now, and it's been good to see. His batting average is creeping up, and his power numbers are starting to look like where they should be for a guy like Ryan Howard. So, Franco's going to have to come in here, and he's going to have to show the other teams that he can do it. But if he can, it's definitely going to help this lineup.
Gregg Murphy's with us, and, in 2010, the Phillies called up Dominic Brown. Now, he was kind of up here because there were some injuries and stuff, but, that at that time, the team was rolling. They were pretty good. There wasn't a lot of pressure on Brown. Do you think there's pressure on Franco because the team's not very good, and people are looking at him like, hey, you better be who they say you are, otherwise this thing's going to be, we're going to be further off. Do you think there's some pressure on him coming up?
I think there's pressure on all these guys, honestly. You're playing Major League Baseball, and there's always somebody who wants to take that job. You have that thought in the back of your head. You have the expectations that are put out there in front of you, and you also have, Major League crowds and coaches and all those kinds of factors that weigh into a guy putting some pressure on himself. So I think all these guys have pressure. Is Franco going to have pressure? Absolutely. And, how he deals with that remains to be seen. But all he can go out and do is kind of stay within himself, and I'm sure his teammates are going to tell him that tonight. And, go out and play the game that he's been playing for a very long time and hope that he can keep the emotions in check, because you can't play this game at an emotional level. You have to play it kind of under control.
Gregg Murphy here on the Sports Bash 97.3, and Cody Ashley obviously was playing third. They sent him down. Now, you were around these guys in spring training. Are you a little surprised that they didn't give him more work and put him in some spring training games in left field to kind of quicken the process to get him ready?
Yeah, honestly, I am. They wanted him to be ready to play third base because they knew they needed him to play third base for the first month and a half of the season, which is exactly what we've seen. They presumably had this plan in the back of their head that if Franco was tearing it up at AAA, that this May 15 date would be looming, and then maybe they would have to make a decision. But sure, you look back and you think, well, hey, maybe they should have given Cody a little more time in left field during spring training to just get his feet wet a little bit. But as it played out, they didn't do that, and so that's why Cody is down at Lehigh Valley now, trying to get some experience out there in left field, and hopefully it doesn't take him all that long to figure it out, and he'll be back up here. That's the plan. That's what they want. They want him back in this lineup. They want his bat back in this lineup, but they want him to feel comfortable out there in left field too. So, it's probably going to take a couple weeks for him to really feel good out there. But I would imagine we're going to see him back at that point, if not sooner.
Let's talk about Papelbon. We talked about it a month ago. Obviously he sometimes says things and people not too happy about it. But in the month that we discussed him and you got a chance to talk to him right after that game, he seems like a genuine guy right now when he's talking about, him getting that record. When you got a chance to really, settle him down a little bit, did he really, reflect on how important this was to him?
He did. And, what I've learned about Jonathan Papelbon over the years is when you get him at a moment that he finds significant, he is a very thoughtful, very emotional kind of guy. And I think we saw that in the post-game interview, if anyone saw that after the game when he got save number 113. He understands the significance of it. You're talking about two organizations in the Red Sox and the Phillies that have both been around for more than 100 years, and he's on top of the all-time saves list for both franchises. It is significant, and he is kind of an historian of the game. He gets it. He understands where that puts him in Major League Baseball history, and I certainly think the moment was not lost on him, and that was great to see.
Yeah, and I mean, you see him and the throw and then the great play that it was. You see him like a little kid. You do see the little kid in him sometimes that make you feel like he is, he's out there for the right reason sometimes. He just sometimes has so much passion that, you either like it or you don't.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike, and I think I've said that to you before. Nobody can question his competitiveness, and nobody can question the way he goes about playing this game. He plays it, like you said, with this reckless abandon and like a little kid with one purpose and one purpose in mind, and that is to win. That is the only thing he cares about when it comes to this game. And I think that shows out there. And, yeah, you saw the emotion. Franco makes the throw. Chooch makes the tag. And there was, a great deal of emotion coming out of Jonathan Papelbon, which is always fun to see, no matter who the player is. And, he's a terrific teammate. And guys will tell you that time in and time out that this is a guy that just wants to win. And at the end of the day, that's really what you want on your team. And, you do wish some of the other stuff that surrounds him sometimes would go away, but it's not going to. That's him. That's his personality, and he's going to continue with that. But, at the end of the day, you have a couple guys like Jonathan Papelbon on your team, chances are you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, and, after the game, he mentioned how important it was to get it for Cole Hamels, too. Two guys whose name keeps coming up, and it was cool that he, mentioned that as well. So you wonder, is his pitching earning the value of other teams, and are they discounting some of the things he says and noticing his pitching more?
I think any general manager that needs a closer at this point would be foolish to think of anything other than the way he is performing on the field right now. If you need a guy to finish games and are willing to part with a prospect or two to get him, the only person in Major League Baseball right now that fits that bill in my mind is Jonathan Papelbon. So I can't imagine that there won't be interest in Papelbon come the trade deadline at this point. It's a manageable contract at this point as well, and you're getting a guy that is showing that he simply can continue to do the job at a high level. So I'd be shocked if there wasn't interest. Now, I'm not saying he'll definitely be traded because you got to get something back in return, but I got to believe there'll be a lot of interest.
Freddie Galvis, did you see any of this in spring training? I mean, obviously 350 or whatever he's at, he's getting 3 hits, it seems like, every single night, and nobody could probably predict that. But did you see some signs that Galvis was going to take these strides as a hitter?
Well, you saw signs, definitely, because you saw a completely different approach than what we've seen in the past. He has really bought into this idea that the power numbers are not his game, and he should not be up there hitting home runs. He's shortened his swing. He's always understood the game. He understands pitch counts. He understands what he might see when he's in the batter's box. So he's a student of the game in that regard. But now he has just simply simplified everything and tried to hit the ball on the ground and try to hit hard balls and keep that bat on a downward plane, and it has been working for him. And I think once you saw it working for him midway through spring and near the end of spring, I think you saw a light bulb click with Freddie Galvis, who said, you know what, this is going to work for me. And he has hit the ground running and just been, everything that they could have asked, everything the coaches could have asked of Freddie Galvis, he has been in terms of an offensive player. Mike Schmidt told him, hey, look, 200 hits are not out of the question for you this year. And I don't know if he's on pace for 200 right now, but he's got to be pretty close. And that would be a remarkable first full season for Freddie Galvis.
Yeah, he's been a big surprise there. And, there are certain surprises that maybe you weren't expecting when this season got underway that you're saying, all right, well, maybe Galvis is a full-time big league player, and that's something that you didn't expect when this season started. Let's look at something you might not have expected either, is Aaron Harang. And the way that he has pitched, it has been unbelievable, and you wonder how he has rubbed off on some of the other guys because he has been tremendous out there for this team.
He's been an absolute surprise in my mind. I'm sure if you asked Aaron Harang, he would tell you, no, this is exactly what I expected to do, and he probably did. But he certainly has impressed me, and he certainly has surprised me with his consistency, his ability to just time and time again keep his team in a game and give them an opportunity to win. And they're winning more than they're losing when Aaron Harang is on the mound, and that's really all you can ask of from a starting pitcher. The guy just knows how to pitch. Nothing seems to rattle him. He's a very unemotional guy when it comes to pitching, and he just goes out there and does what he believes he needs to do, time in and time out, and just hits his spots and consistently makes a pitch when he needs to make a pitch. And that's really what it all boils down to in this game, and he has become a master at it. And he's been terrific, and in terms of a clubhouse presence, he's been equally good. The guys really look up to him, and he's been a plus all the way around, if you ask me.
Yeah, and these are things that the Phillies really needed to go their way. A guy like Harang who might have value, now maybe Papelbon, where you never thought maybe teams would be interested. Maybe he is. If Howard can start swinging a hot bat, maybe teams take notice. So you needed some extra things to work to help speed up this process. One of the process being sped up is Franco. He'll be up there tonight. Now, Scott Profrock on Wednesday's show said, at the end of our interview, he said, everybody be patient with us. We'll get this right. Is that fair to ask the fans to be patient? Do you think this is something that the fans are going to be willing to wait through?
Well, is it fair to ask? Yeah, it's absolutely fair to ask. Do I anticipate that they'll get that wish? Probably not, because the definition of a fan is it's short for fanatic for a reason. So, the Philly fans want and demand and expect a winning baseball team every year, and I have no problem with that. And I don't think the Phillies front office has a problem with that. That's the way it should be. In reality, we understand that it's going to take some time, and they're going to have to make good decisions, better decisions than have been made in the past, in order to get this completely back on track and where they want it to be. But, one thing I can say is that is the mindset of the front office. That's what they're attempting to do. That's what they're trying to do on a daily basis. So, I agree with Scott. It would be nice to have a 2-year grace period where fans were patient. But I don't expect that, and I don't blame the fans one bit for not being patient. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. So as long as the team appears to be moving in the right direction, I think you'll have a fan base that will continue to support, and that's really all they can ask for at this point.
Well, tonight will be a big step. We'll see Franco, and tonight, for the first time, Chase Utley will hit 6th in the lineup. So they have moved Chase Utley down, and we'll see if that helps him out. For the first time since 2005, he is down that low in the lineup, and see if that gets him going. Gregg Murphy and the guys will have the call tonight. The Arizona Diamondbacks are in town. Chad Billingsley on the bump for the Phils. And Gregg Murphy here weekly on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Have a good broadcast tonight, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.